Rangers, Penguins, Jets, Oilers, Golden Knights, Avalanche, the three games we will be breaking down, as well as some props here on the show. Guys, welcome into Puck Time. It was great to be back yesterday. We have more plays for you today. Andrew and Carmine, as usual, we'll get the guests going tomorrow on the show, but it's a bigger slate today here on a Wednesday night. We picked three games we think are the best ones to get right into. Carm, good morning to you. How are you? Great first night of action yesterday. And let's dive right into it. Your thoughts on the first game?
It was a great night of action, and we'll get to that after this game. But we're going to kick it off. Andrew, I wanted to start the program talking about the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, but you're Montreal Canadiens. Yes, you have ownership in them, but I'm not going to do that. You got Prez on tomorrow, and you guys will probably talk about yesterday's games with him, knowing him. But this is one, Andrew. I'm high. I'm not high. I'm high on the Rangers this season. I think this is a team that anything short, the Rangers this year, and I know we're only talking about game one of the NHL season, but anything short of a conference finals for this team is a complete failure. And this is in a very tough Eastern Conference. It has obviously the Florida Panthers. You've got good teams like Carolina, teams that should be better this year, like the Devils and the Toronto Maple Leafs. But anything short of a conference finals for this Rangers team, I think, is a big disappointment. I'm looking for them to take the next step forward. And then you got the Pens off that season last year. Obviously, a disappointing season where they struggled late in the final, especially late in the final week of the season. I think they lost 3 of 4, and that kept them on the outside looking in. It would have been nice to have seen them squeak in there, but not much data that you can apply from the preseason at the very least with these teams. Right now, the starting goalie should be Tristan Jarry and should be Igor Shesterkin. They got Shesterkin a little bit of time, and the game that he was in was against the New York Islanders, who scored a couple on the power play. They scored 3 other goals. They put 5 by him on 38 shots. You could look at that and go, my God, he allowed 5 goals on 38 shots. He's just getting some ice time, number one. Number two, there are not many teams in the NHL this season that are going to register that kind of shot total against the New York Rangers. It's preseason. It's more the other side. What kind of a season do the Pens have, but what kind of a season does Tristan Jarry have? You know, this is a guy who for 4 consecutive years had 20 plus wins. In 2021, the guy had, what was his stats? 34, 8, and 6. A fantastic season in 2021, followed up with a couple of 20-win seasons. Then last year, sort of a miserable season, 19 and 26 season for him. Not his best year by far. How do the Pens bounce back this season? It's defense is always their thing, because that was the question mark going in last season. It hurt them. They're normally a team that doesn't take a lot of penalties, so we'll see how that holds up this season as well too. But if we're just looking at these teams and we're comparing apples to apples, the Rangers are a better team. They're going to be a better team throughout the season. It's the first game of the year, but I'm going to look at the Rangers here. Andrew, a couple stats I want to throw out. We look at the Rangers and they're laying like minus 140 on the money line. Last year on the money line, the Rangers were 30 and 19 when on the road. If you just flat bet the Rangers each and every game on the money line, you're up 4.6 units. You're up 6.8 ROI on all of your bets with them. But the window for them, price-wise, is the break-even point was minus 158. That is the number that would have broke you even on if that was the price for all 39 games on this team. But overall, if you flat bet them, you made a profit with them last season. And I think that's where you got to look at here. The Rangers, minus 140, it's under that number. Last year, the road team won all 3 games in this series with the Rangers taking 2 of them in Pittsburgh. And I'm going to look for that trend to continue here. Give me the Rangers.
Carm, I share a lot of the same thoughts that you do, man. And we don't, I guess, we talk about fandom a little bit. We don't like to talk about fandom too much here on a betting show, but as a lot of people probably know, I'm a huge fan of Sidney Crosby, so I've always followed the the Penguins closely as well as my Montreal Canadiens. But I'll tell you, Karma, I just don't think he has enough help. I don't think he has enough help over there in Pittsburgh. I think that it was not a wise move for them to get rid of Jake Gensel. I'm not sure what they were thinking there. I'm not sure if they thought they could replace him. I don't know where they were going by getting rid of him and selling him at the deadline. But either way, I don't think it was a good move. And you look at some of the guys, they pick up Rutger McGroarty from Winnipeg. We'll see how he slots into his first NHL regular season game. But when it comes down to it, Carm, overall, I'm worried about the age of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And obviously, we're talking here in game one of 82 games. So maybe me bringing up age isn't as big of a factor here in game one as it will be in game, let's say, 45. But I look at the blue line, Carlson, Letang, even Graves, some of those guys. I don't think I see a ton of speed. And with the way the NHL works these days, you have to have speed. And, don't get me wrong. Carlson has offensive upside as a defenseman. Letang has offensive upside as a defenseman. The reason why the Penguins were good for so many years is because they were a deep team. I'm not seeing that from them anymore. And, Carm, you hit it on the head with New York. This is a year they should do well. I think that it should be them and the New Jersey Devils absolutely battling it out, punch for punch, all season long for that Metropolitan Division title. Who will win it? I'm not so sure. It's all up as far as the Rangers and their consistency level and how they can play. But as you know, I love the team totals. Yesterday, we did miss on that Seattle one. But if you bet Boston team total, you hit that one. If you bet Florida's team total, you hit that one. If you bet the favorite in the late game, Utah, you hit that one. Team totals are the way to go in some spots like this. And New York, in 6 of their last 7 wins over the Penguins, have scored at least 4 goals. So I mentioned this on WagerTalk today when I was on there yesterday. And I said, I think that getting the plus money is the way to go and protect that bankroll over the side. I do think that we could see maybe a slow start for some of these Rangers players. But other than that, Alexis Lafreniere is coming into his own. You've got Kakko, you've got Kreider, you've got Zibanejad, you've got so many great guys, not to mention Trocheck, who you and I cashed all those shots on goal props with last season. So I'm going to take the Rangers as well, and I'm going to sprinkle on that team total up and over 3.5. I think it's going to be a rough go for the Pittsburgh Penguins out the gate, at least. And I'll tell you what, I know because I've heard through media outlets in my hometown, Carm, that Crosby goes hard with his training in the offseason. They better have good treatment centers in Pittsburgh because he's going to have a lot of wear and tear on his. How many minutes is this guy going to have to play every night, Carm, in order for this team to do well? Because the guy's like 37 years old, 38 years old. I don't know how many minutes he's going to have to play for this team.
Yeah, well, Andrew, it's a lot of minutes. Last year, 1,647 minutes of ice time for Sidney Crosby last season. Average ice time was 20.05 minutes per game. Dude, he spent the offseason filming those Tim Hortons commercials with Nathan McKinnon, where they're driving Zambonis through the Tim Hortons drive-throughs for those collector cards. So you don't have to worry about him. We're not. I did mention, guys, we're not talking about the Leafs and Montreal Canadiens, but I think it's an interesting thing because Andrew sent me a tweet this morning, early morning, from Elliot Friedman. If you're not following him, you should. He gets a lot of information and gets that out right away. But talking about the Leafs bringing up their third string emergency goalie with them to Montreal, didn't state which of the two goalies for the Leafs was missing. The speculation was Stollarts was heading to New Jersey because they play New Jersey tomorrow, and he's a New Jersey native, I believe. But he's actually in goal tonight. So Joseph Woll, with the injuries last season, Andrew, is already MIA for the Toronto Maple Leafs 1 game into the season.
Drama in Leaf Land. They were already singing Oasis Wonderwall, and all of a sudden it's not a wonder world for this team. We'll see what happens, but you know who I'm cheering for, Carm. But so far, it's just one play for me at WagerTalk. I have a lot of plays, a lot of opinions that I like, but just one play for me up at WagerTalk, and it was the $5 play I had up yesterday. So if anybody didn't get that yesterday for $5, you can get that today at regular pricing, or You can use that promo code we mentioned yesterday. Puck15 will take $15 off a 7-day package. And that'll work for Carm and it will work for myself. And it's not for both of us together, and you guys can get 7 days of all of our plays. We're going to give out all kinds of opinions on the show on Puck Time, but our absolutely favorite picks of each night will be over at WagerTalk, and that's where you can get all of our best bets. Carm, I believe you have a couple plays going tonight.
Andrew, yeah, I got. What is up with the look I have on that image, that picture there? That's the look I usually give like the waiter or waitress when they bring me a glass of ice with a bottle of Perrier water, which actually makes no sense to me whatsoever. You don't have ice with Perrier water unless those ice cubes are made with Perrier water. But I digress. Let's not go off on a tangent. I have 5 plays up for tonight. Yeah, it's a big card. 3-1 yesterday in NHL for me, a profitable day. We're looking to make it 2 in a row. A couple of those plays are 1% plays. So I'm still taking the cautious approach to the beginning of the NHL season. So you're not going to see 4 and 5% plays from me out of the gate. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of 2s and 3s. Protect the bankroll while we see how the NHL opening weeks of the NHL season unfolds, and then we'll ramp it up. It's a long-term game. It's a marathon and not a sprint. So we'll be there at the end, Andrew, with the profitable season. But speaking of profitable seasons, if you bet on the Edmonton Oilers when they started that 16-game streak, Andrew, you'd be making some money. We talked about streaks plenty of times on the show, so I'll throw it back to you for the Jets and the Oilers.
It's crazy, Carm. A team fires their coach, and all of a sudden they look like a brand new team. I'm sure the New York Jet fans are going to be hoping that's the case for them over in the NFL, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. But over here in the NHL, the Oilers, a huge run for them last year all the way to the Stanley Cup after getting rid of their head coach. Of course, they have, the best player currently in the world, most people would say, with Connor McDavid. But yes, the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers going head-to-head here tonight in this one. And Carm, one thing I find so interesting is that the way that the free agency market works in the NHL, that the playoffs go so late that pretty much like a week after, a couple days really after the Stanley Cup is raised by a team, a player has to figure out if they're going to sign back with them or not. Like Florida had players they lost due to free agency a few days after they won the cup, or they had to worry about re-signing guys. Well, same thing for Edmonton. They had to worry about re-signing players. They had to worry about going to get new players, and that's exactly what they did. Victor Arvidsson he played on the LA Kings, and he also played on the Nashville Predators. He joins the top 6 of the Edmonton Oilers, a really great addition to this Oilers team. Of course, you have Jeff Skinner as well there. And then, of course, you have the guys like Adam Henrique that joined the team last year around the trade deadline. I really like what they're going to bring to the team. I really like Arvidsson. He's one of those guys that's a big guy, Carm. Hard to take off the puck. He's hard to really bother when he has the puck, and he can kind of create plays. He'll fit in right there on that top 6. When it comes down to it here, I think that this Oilers team might see a bump in the road maybe in November or December, but I think they're going to come out guns blazing. This is a team that is healthy, which is kind of rare to say for a team that's off an extended run in the playoffs, obviously all the way to the Stanley Cup. They're healthy, Carm. They've got fire in their bellies, and I feel like they're going to start off on a really good note. So I do like the Oilers to win this one, and I'm actually going to go a step farther, and I'm going to take them on the first period -0.5 goal. You're going to get some nice plus money on that one, and as we've pointed out on the show and as some of the numbers indicate, these home teams have done very well in their home openers over the last several years here, and if I like the Oilers, then I like them in the first period. The updated number on that one right now is +140 that most people should be able to get. I saw some books earlier this morning with +145, 150, but +140 Oilers to win the first period. That's my bet on this one, Carm. We're chasing that plus money. What do you think?
And this only proves that you and I don't discuss our plays before the show because I have the exact same play. I was going to steal a page out of the Don Buster notebook with the first period Edmonton play. Listen, it was the banner raising yesterday. We talked about it. It's a banner raising in Florida, 26-13 and 4, 26-13 and 4, I believe, for teams raising the Stanley Cup banner. And that's now 27-13 because Florida came out and they looked like there was no hangover on this team whatsoever. They came out fired up and got on the Boston Bruins early, and poor Corpusalo as well too. It's a banner raising tonight as well too, but obviously not a cup one. I don't think there's going to be a hangover tonight. For the first time since the 05-06 season, the Oilers are raising a banner, Western Conference champions tonight. And this is, Stuart Skinner. Let's talk about him. There were so many question marks about the Oilers goaltending all of last season. Skinner really stood up at the end of the season and into the playoffs. The guy finished 36, 16, and 5. But more impressively, 2.62 goals against average, 905 save percentage. Normally, when people equate goalies with win records in Edmonton, they figure the goals against average is going to be elevated one. This goes back to obviously the Grand Fear days for anyone who's even old enough to remember the Grand Fear days with the Edmonton Oilers and Wayne Gretzky and crew. But his goals against average was always 350 or higher. 262 is a very good one, especially in the Western Conference where a lot of teams can score. He was 2-0-1 last year against the Winnipeg Jets. I expect them to come out this year. They don't want to start the way they started last year. Obviously, that the new coach, it's a new philosophy in Edmonton, and it's the same for the Oilers. Everyone considers them a Stanley Cup threat, and I know that the Cup has not come north of the border in God knows how many years, 30 plus years or whatever you want to call it. But the Oilers are going to make a run for it again. We saw in back-to-back seasons, the team that lost in the Stanley Cup Finals has gone on to win the Cup the following year. Florida loses to the Vegas Golden Knights, wins the Cup. This is what we're going to see. We're going to see a good Edmonton team. Winnipeg is a team that, Andrew, I'm probably going to be looking at for most of the season. I want to see how they start, but I'm going to be looking to bet against the Winnipeg Jets in spots. They had a great season last year. That season absolutely evaporated in the playoffs. They win the first game and handily against the Avalanche, and everyone is thinking the Avalanche are done. Winnipeg's going on to the second round, and then it was done. 4 more or whatever games. They got dusted in that one. Connor Hellebuck should be in goal. It was fantastic last year. Very good season for him. Only thing is, and this is something you want to monitor, I think, throughout the day, because I don't see a listed goalie. I don't see a confirmed goalie as of yet. I'm just going to click on it as we speak right now. Hellebuck is confirmed, which means he was on the ice this morning. He took 2 or 3 personal days off and was supposed to return this morning for the morning skate. So he's obviously back. But this is, again, it's a Winnipeg team that Edmonton should beat and should beat handily. They're going to come out first period. I love that -0.5. I had it written down as plus 135. So you got a better price at plus 140. Mine is off the WagerTalk live lines, which you guys should be using at all times. So I'm taking the Don Buster play, laying the half a goal, taking the plus 135 and cheering for the Edmonton Oilers.
I love it. I love when we're on the same page there, Carmen. If we look at yesterday, I'm not trying to say that it's going to happen all the time, but all 3 home teams yesterday would have covered the -0.5 goal in the first period. We always debate how much home ice advantage matters. There's certain instances where it probably does matter more than others. If it's a Wednesday night in the middle of February, it might not matter. Home opener, though, October here, these teams are getting fired up in front of their home crowds. They want to put a good show on. They're looking forward to a good start. And we saw the Panthers have a good start, the Kraken have a good start, and Utah have a good start. We'll look to see if the Oilers can do the exact same thing for us here in this one. All right, guys, we're going to jump into...
Andrew, hold on, Andrew. I should have been throwing it to you for your prop plays. But before I get there, a couple interesting things in this game for tonight. Actually, 2 things I'm going to quickly touch on. Number one, We have, and I think it was mentioned in the chat, we have two Skinners on the Oilers this year. You got one in goal, and Jeff Skinner, former Sabre, who's now with the Oilers. So let's see how that one plays out. And one of the guys in our chat, I didn't respond to the tweets last night, but I think he asked me because he said the ESPN announcers are trash. Yes, they are trash. The best announcers have either passed away or have retired. Mike Emmerich retired, but Bob Cole, fantastic announcer up here in Canada, and then Rick Jenneret in Buffalo. Come on, man. That guy, the vocal cords on Jenneret were the best. I don't care. I'm biased. The best announcer of all time for me, Rick Jenneret. Any guy who could turn Pat LaFontaine's goal into La 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 LaFontaine with the goal. Come on. It is absolutely amazing. Go to YouTube, punch in Rick Jenneret calls, and you'll see this guy had that velvet voice. And with that said, Andrew, I'm going to toss it to you for the Andrew player props segment. You hit some yesterday. Let's go 3-0 today.
Carm, I just got to say, I love your energy, brother. I love your energy this morning, and put me in a fired up mood for the games tonight. I'm excited, and hockey's back. When I've got my guy yelling out some commentary here, that's how we know hockey's back for us. All right, guys, let's jump into the prop playbook for Wednesday night. Tonight we have 3 props we're going to look at. Last night we went 2-1 on these. The late game did us very well with Bedard shots and Gunther getting a point. Before I jump into that, though, guys, a quick reminder again, PUCK15, that promo code PUCK15 will take $15 off a 7-day NHL pass. If you guys want to ride with all my plays, want to join me every day, don't buy the plays individually. 7 days, not too long term, but a good enough sample size for you to see how I give out plays, see my analysis. PUCK15 will save $15 off for you. All right, let's jump into our first play. We're going to take Victor Arvidsson to get a point. We talked about him on PuckTime today, and we're going to take him to get a point. He's playing his first game in the regular season as an Edmonton Oiler. He'll be on the same line as Jeff Skinner and Leon Draisaitl, 2 very talented players. Whether it's Arvidsson doing the scoring or him doing the passing, I think he'll be a very important part of this Oilers top 6. He'll also get some power play time, which will really help him out and will help us get a point in this one tonight. Second one we're going to go with here, guys. I talked about it on PuckTime. Sidney Crosby is going to have a massive workload this season. Over 3.5 shots for him is plus 100. He's known for being a playmaker. He's someone that knows how to pass the puck and find his teammates. But this year, we're going to have to see a selfish version of Sidney Crosby if they want to have success, because he does not have as much help around him this year as he has in years past. We're going to go up and over 3.5 shots on goal at even money, plus 100 price tag here for Sidney Crosby. And the third play, Vancouver Canucks, a team with a lot of hope coming into this season. They had a great year end last year and a good little run in the postseason. We're going to take third line winger Connor Garland, minus 110. Great price to record a point. He's out there on that second power play unit. This Vancouver team has a ton of speed, and he's a real big part of their offense. Even though he's on the third line, guys, he's still someone that contributes to the offense on a night in, night out basis. So to recap, Arvidsson point, Sidney Crosby shots on goal, and Garland point to get us going. And hopefully we can cash some tickets here on a Wednesday night. All right, Carm. That's it for me with the props. And we're going to kind of do that segment every day. That way I'm not mentioning props throughout the show. I'm going to mention mostly sides and totals in the show and then props in that segment.
I love those props, Andrew. So we're going to keep doing them. It's going to be a regular segment for you. I will always throw some, not follow-up questions for you, but some stats on your actual plays. Obviously, not enough data on Arvidsson. He's a guy that I think only played like 18 or so games last year. So we're going to need a good season out of him. Sidney Crosby at home averaged 3.51 shots per game last season. And you're getting that even money. Connor Garland against the West last year, 35 points in 50 games. And against the Calgary Flames, 3 points in 4 games. So over half a point. Let's see him get at least an assist tonight, and you cash that one. How do you like that? How do you like
Sounds
them
good to me.
apples, my
I
friend?
like it. I
All
like
right.
it. And Carm, you've done a good job with these road home splits with players. It is important. I always forget about that, but some players and teams play a lot better.
It's
Yeah. It's going to be a good team to watch
it's
out for
that
that,
last
Carm, is
change.
the yeah, yeah. The Hawks, man. The Hawks at home
no,
this year are going to be a good team to watch out for.
yeah. Yeah, listen, it's I think the home road splits, home away, whatever you want to call it, the splits are important. You are gassed on them. So we'll see how the player props go. They went well for me yesterday, 2-2 on the player props yesterday. A little slow start for Connor Bedard. He looked invisible, as did the Chicago Blackhawks in that first period, but he still ended up with 5 shots on goal, easily going over that 2.5 number. So we'll see. Andrew, we left the most important game to the very end. Now I'm going to Vegas, and I just invited our producer Dan before the show. Going to Vegas December 6th to 10th. The only team in town is on the 6th when I arrive, the Dallas Stars. But if you've never been to a Golden Knights game, it is absolutely a fantastic atmosphere. True fans. I say that coming from Toronto, where you go to a game and it's all corporate bigwigs, but or people who overpaid for tickets. But wow, 2 shows, I finally took a shot at them. I took a shot at the fans. Sorry, Andrew, cue us up, man. Tell us who you like in this game, and then I'll go next.
Yeah, Carm, I'm going to have a free play video up at WagerTalk TV with this game as well. So I'm going to be short and simple with this one. I like the under 6.5 between these teams. Obviously, we see it's a pick 'em. It's a -110 across the board. It's expected to be a tight game here. When I look at the Avalanche, I'm seeing injuries. Landeskog's still not back. They need their captain. He has not played a hockey game since he raised the Stanley Cup in 2021. Or maybe 2022. But when you look at Lehkonen, he's out as well for the time being. Nichushkin, he's not back yet. And then you got a few pieces that were added to this roster that I think it'll take time for some chemistry to develop. So I know it's hard to imagine taking an under when you've got Rantanen, McKinnon, and Makar on a team, but bear with me here. You look at the Vegas Golden Knights, they lost some guys in the offseason as well. Whether it be offensively or defensively, they have some missing pieces on their team that I think it'll take some time for them to adjust. I look at the roster, I see Stone, I see Jack Eichel, but there's not as much fire in that lineup as there once was. No more Chandler Stevenson, no more Jonathan Marchessault. Carm, we got 2 exciting teams playing in this one, and I'm going to kind of go against the grain and go under 6.5 here. What do you think about this game?
I'm leaning to the under as well too in this one. We're going to see. Let's see what we get from these goalies. Obviously, Aiden Hill didn't start last season off. You know what I mean? And this guy had a great run for the Vegas Golden Knights 2 years back when they made that run to the Stanley Cup and won the Stanley Cup. The guy stood on his head. But his first game back, or his last game in preseason. And again, don't put much stock in preseason, but he allowed like 3 goals. The Knights had a good team on the ice. I was looking at the rosters of their game against, I think it was the San Jose Sharks, and they had a good roster out there. So you can't blame it on an expanded roster. A lot of players are going to get sent down to their AHL affiliate. They had a good roster there, and they lose 6-5. Hill allows 3 goals in, I think it was like the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game. In that one. And again, it's just fine tuning. Get these guys on the ice, get their timing right. But we'll see, because sitting there waiting if Hill falters is former Leaf goalie Samsonov. So we'll see how that goes. And it's the same thing on the other, in across the ice. So you look at the Avalanche, and it's Georgiev should be starting tonight, but Justin Anunin is right there. He could pick up some ice time if Georgiev struggles, because this is one of the things with the Avs is always going to be, can this team win with their goalies? It's the question mark that haunts every single team each year if you don't have one of the star or best goalies in the league is, can you win with these goalies? Well, they can. They've got a good team. -110 both ways. These teams actually played 5 times last year. I think Vegas won 3 of them. Some high-scoring games, but some games in which were just blowouts, 6-1, 7-0. But some low-scoring games. And out of the gate, I'm gonna take the under in this one, under 6.5 on this one. So I'm gonna agree with you on that one, Andrew. I don't know how else to tackle.
We just lost Carm. We just lost Carm. He gave us so much information. He's tapped out. Carm hit his word count. He hit his word. It's like when you have an essay in school and you're trying to reach that word count. You're good. You got the word count, Carm. You're all set. But he likes the under just like I do, and it sounds like, guys, Carm and I are on the same page a lot today. Hopefully we can make some money. We both like the first period play there in Edmonton. We both like the under in this game. And we're both looking towards New York in some way, shape, or form. So let's make some money here, guys, tonight in the NHL. Shout out to all of you guys tuning in live right now in the chat room. We appreciate all of you guys, and I love when you guys shout out all your opinions. Comment below on this video. Wait till the video is over. Let us know a goal scorer pick for tonight. We're going to shout out a few of you guys tomorrow to get a few of these right. But comment below a goal scorer, someone that you think will score a goal in tonight's NHL slate. And also, please do us a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It makes Carm and I look good. That's all I'm going to say. Try and get more likes on this video than WagerTalk today. You know, I'd appreciate that. Makes us look good as the hosts of this show. Dan, do we have Carm to bring him back before we close this out, or are we good? All right. All right, guys. That's it for today. Some great games here. Wednesday night into the NHL. You can find both of our plays over at WagerTalk.com. Go Habs, go, guys. Enjoy the games. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Puck Time.